And according to your research, how does a person become a radical person?
There's the main thing is that there's no one pathway. I mean, that's the first thing to state. Uh, you have probably as many pathways as you have people who join an extremist organization. So that's the first thing to sort of appreciate. Now you do notice patterns, and you notice kind of like there are certain, not necessarily profiles, but more like profiles of pathways. You start noticing certain patterns again and again and again. And at least a lot of the people that I spoke with who were more of a kind of Western background, people from Belgium, from France, from the UK, but also people from Morocco and other countries too. A lot of times it starts from a feeling of being a bit of an outsider, feeling a bit lost in your identity, not really knowing where you fit into the world, oftentimes feeling a bit marginalized in some way, just struggling with uncertainty, struggling with the uncertainty of your own identity, the uncertainty of the world, of your role within it. Sometimes you had anxiety and depression start to come out from some of those feelings of uncertainty. Now, up until that point, probably more than half your listeners can relate to that, right? I mean, that's a huge percentage of the population that has to deal with that sense of I don't really know who I am, I don't really know what I'm going to do with my life, and maybe I'm getting a little depressed or a little anxious. That's unfortunately becoming that's kind of part of modernity at this point. That a lot of people feel that way. So that part's not so surprising. That part I think is pretty common, and many of us can relate to that. The part where it starts to deviate is that most of us still believe that there are pathways ahead of us that are viable, that are legitimate, that are legal pathways that we can then take in order to gain some esteem, some sense of purpose, some sense of belonging. Even if it's hard, even if it's a long process, even if it means, oh, I got to go to medical school or I got to do whatever, you can still kind of see yourself doing it. But for some people, it's just they can't see themselves going down that path. Either those pathways aren't available, or it doesn't seem viable. They've never seen anyone go down that pathway. Maybe they have tons of criminal history, so they just think, who am I to even imagine myself going down that pathway? And then usually what happens is they have to see someone that they know oftentimes, who then goes and joins. So it kind of becomes like a model. And then that person will then go and join maybe a group like in Syria or wherever, and then call them and connect back with their old friend and say, hey, I'm here. Don't believe what you're hearing in the media. It's amazing here. I have my brothers and sisters, and look at us. It's like a Shangri-La. I have, Muslim brothers from Malaysia, Muslim brothers from Pakistan. I'm Moroccan, Belgian. Come join us. And, as one British guy I talked to on the Turkish-Syrian border, he had just arrived and he was a young guy. And I remember I kind of had this almost older brother kind of feeling of protection for him. And I was like, dude, just come back with me. Come back with me. We'll go to Istanbul. We'll go to we'll go to the embassy, the British embassy. You haven't been here for long. You probably haven't committed any real crimes yet. We'll get you back. And he was saying, I could tell he was a little bit on the edge in terms of what he was doing. And he was saying, look, even if you're right about the world and your worldview is right, he goes, what do you want me to do? I have two options here. I can either go back to the UK, where I'll just go work in some convenience store, selling groceries, bagging people's groceries, or I can stay here and potentially be a world-changing revolutionary. If you had a choice between these two characters that you could play in life, these two lives that you can have, which one would you choose? And so for most people, joining the group means purpose. It means meaning. It means brotherhood and sisterhood. It means a narrative. And this is true not only for jihad, this is for white nationalists, this is for conspiracy theorists. This is for, why are people drawn to conspiracy theories?